Hey, what's up, everybody? So, I was watching the new Glorilla video. Check this out. Like, just the energy of it. You know what I'm saying? So, I was looking at him like, this reminds me of still that Carti vibe, you know? Even this new cat that I was trying to listen to a little bit. It reminds me of like that Magnolia type energy with the editing and the scene transitions and all that shit. So I was saying to myself, like, are we still on this wave? Like, this Magnolia self titled video? Because at the time, I had never really seen anything quite like the Magnolia video. I haven't, you know? So I wanted to talk about that. And again, feel free to let me know if I'm wrong on this. But I do think that Cardi may have actually started something kind of interesting, or Og, or whatever you call them niggas. By the way, if you want to know more about the effects, I'm not gonna go necessarily so deep into the effects, like from the technical standpoint, but this video is excellent, done by Justin Audusho, so I would check that out. Actually, it's you know, he does go into some depth, but again, I think that there's some really interesting things that Cardi does, or the video producers, I should say, and directors when they made this video. Now, the first thing I guess I should talk about actually is my first time hearing Cardi or seeing Cardi. And to be honest with you, I believe it was actually Magnolia. I don't think I heard him before that. And in fact, I don't even think I heard of him before this, to be perfectly honest. If I heard the track before, it was in one ear and out the other. I've told this before, but the Cash Cardi stuff, the stuff that he was doing kind of before he got with Rocky, I'm not crazy about. It wasn't terrible, but it was kind of like it was underusing his potential. And I think that this version of Playboi Carti, the self-titled Carti, is still by far the best version, in my honest opinion. So when I first saw this like video, and I actually heard the song and saw the video at the same time, because it was like there's this video. Somebody was, I don't know if someone was talking about the video. I was looking on a forum. I think it was something like they were probably trashing the video, if anything, because that's usually how it is. When someone does something unique, especially nowadays, there's always a hater that starts it off. But they look at how garbage this is, and then everyone riles on it, and I'm taking a look and going like, huh, actually, this is maybe not as bad as they think. So anyway, I heard this song at the same time, and I'm watching the video, and the first thing it did was it definitely made an impression, and I really liked the beat. First and foremost, I love the beat. I was like, who made this beat? Like, I just liked the bouncier tempo of the beat. You have to remember, this is the era where Mask Off is ringing. You've got that year, I believe, was Metro is still very much in full swing. Obviously, you've got Mike Will and stuff and some of the Kendrick stuff. So, to me, what I liked about this was it had this bouncier sort of, again, maybe video game-ish vibe that I thought was like, oh, like I'm glad that we have something that's with a newer drum pattern in a sense that's more active, and we're kind of moving away from that slow druggy Metro feel, which was cool. And again, I wasn't even hating on Metro. I still like Metro a lot, but at that time it was like, okay, we need something a little bit different. Now, in all fairness, I thought the rapping on this song was garbage. I thought it was absolute trash. I thought it was barely there. It was random. It was hard to follow. I remember like watching the video again. I'm watching Cardi rap, and it was like, huh? This is all going to be ad libs. Like, I'm confused. So it reminded me in a way of what Lil B was doing, but Lil B jokingly ad libs his way through shit, but he also rhymes as well. Like, this to me was like really taking that ad lib shit to another level. And as I listened to more and more Cardi, I actually started to understand and sort of get the sense of what he was doing, and it fits. And that's the thing sometimes, like when things are weird, like there is that growth period where you're kind of like trying to figure out what exactly is going on. So it is actually kind of logical that Cardi would take it there, and it's very smart in a way for him to do that. Now, my issue with self-titled, and has been an issue with me, and I would say in Cardi the entire time, and his music I should say, is the ad-lib thing is still too basic. Like it's cool for the youth, and it does work, and it's better than pretty much anyone else that's doing that sort of ad-lib, low end, low thought rap style or whatever. But it's still like, especially when you get beats like this, they're so lush and so interesting. It's like, you know, ideally Carti would have actually spit more, like better bars, or at least, you know, try to chain some flow together a little bit more. That would have been ideal. It's still a little bit too basic, and I think even as you listen to Self-Titled, it kind of runs its course in that sense. But again, I think it's interesting. If you look at what Carti's saying in some of these songs, I actually think he's got more bars than a lot of people, whether it be Thug, Gunna, or some of these other guys. You know, so again, the bars for bars, the bar for bars is like down here. It's like really, really bad. So I'm not saying Carti's some sort of like lyricist like that, not at all. But he's surprisingly, like if you look word for word, he's actually saying more shit than your typical rapper of this era, which is pretty crazy. Anyway, but the charisma was there, and the song and video definitely made an instant impression. Self-Titled, as a whole, I loved, actually. I really did. Woke Up Like This, I think I've said this, but that was just the record that really made me actually like check out Carti for real. And then I was like, oh, this shit's fire. This is easily the best tape of the year. And I remember people weren't really talking about it. They were focusing on Humble and Kendrick and Jay, because 444 came around at the same time. It was like Jay and Kendrick. Then I was like, this guy named Carti just dropped the best hip-hop tape hands down, and like no one's talking about the shit, which is fucking crazy. But that's how these things go. Anyway, so I'm here to kind of analyze the video, because I do think that this sort of broke out a certain style that I kind of see remnants of it still to this day in music videos. Now, the thing that's interesting to me is that, you know, you've got these sort of glitch effects, fast forward, rewind, there's masking and keying stuff, and there's distortion, mirroring, liquefy, basic effects. Like I said, Justin Odicho breaks this down very, very well. And now, I like this shit. It's nothing necessarily new. Hip-hop has always had edits and people throwing in videos, effects and things like that. But the way that they did this, I thought was really fly. It was like very DIY. It's almost like they just threw a bunch of shit together. But it all works. I remember at a time, I was actually living in BK at the time, and I showed this video. This was like really much when Magnolia was really hitting, right? And I showed this video to someone who, like I said, I won't name, but is a fairly famous editor in the city. And he thought it was straight garbage. And he's a hip-hop head. He thought it was straight garbage. He was like, this is the worst shit I've ever seen. Like, this is trash. And I was like, I mean, I think this shit is hot. I mean, this is street. This is the Carti I fuck with. You know, when people talk about, oh, Carti makes music for white teens, I'm like, not this Carti. This Carti was doing some cool shit that a bunch of people could get into. I don't even think the tween or sort of white mosh pit audience that you see from Whole Lotta Red, I don't even think they were up on this at this time. Like, look at it. It's literally, like, you'll see in the video, it's literally street. Like, they're literally on the New York streets, hanging out, doing, having fun, all that shit. And that, to me, is hip-hop. DIY, streets. I mean, it doesn't really get more hip-hop than that, in a sense. So, anyway, let me go through it. I've talked enough, and I'll kind of go and give my impressions as this thing goes along, because I actually really like this video a lot. The clouds. And love my beats, man.
Yo, yeah.
Go ahead. Shit's great.
In New York, I made it rock. Hiding in my socks. Running from my arm. And
That's to the up. Shit's fire. And I'm on the block. See that editing? Just the energy of it. Like wild energy. And they rock. Okay, let me pause this. Sorry. There's so much going on that I fucking love here. Yeah. No, come on. Yeah, this is the first time. I thought I was like, what the hell? It was random as fuck to me. And obviously at the first time hearing it, you're just like, oh, I guess it's some random shit that's part of the song. But obviously subsequently hearing it in PR Productions, that shit made me laugh for real. And then finding out that it was a Jamie Foxx reference. We used to watch the Jamie Foxx show from back in the day. Was like hilarious as fuck to me. So this is what I mean, right? So this shit, and Dicho talks about this. This transition, like the way that shit transitions, where like a piece of the next scene bleeds into the previous scene, like that shit's trippy. It's really fucking cool. right? In a funny way, it's almost, I mean, I wouldn't say Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind like, but again, it's playing with that the notion of memory, right? And even like they have this sort of photo collage vibe. You know, they're all like, you know, it's like memories, and that's why to a certain degree this will kind of ring, I think, nostalgic wise for people, because it is almost like them hanging out and you're looking back, man, those are good days when we were just running wild and shit out here. But anyways, I thought that this was really cool at the time, because again, I hadn't seen something like this where it was like, you know, shit was transitioning real quick. Like, this dude is, where is he right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's, I don't know what the, you know, this is some Inception shit. Like, some of the buildings are caving into each other. There's like a road, random people, and this dude's Millie rocking, and oh, he's on the corner. Oh, okay. And then boom, here comes hiding on my sock, something else. So I just thought the shit was fucking fire. I really did. I was like, this whole thing is dope as fuck.
In New York, I Millie rock, hiding in my socks, running from a hawk, and I shoot that hawk.
Ah, it's just ill, man. And with the umbrella, that's fly.
And I'm on the block. In New York, I Millie rock, hiding in my
Right, so the inversion, also, the first thing I remember thinking back then when this came out, I was like, oh, like, whoever made this video is a big fan of Doctor Strange. And I think Doctor Strange was out around this time, or had just come out. And I did like that in Doctor Strange. Again, they kind of did that, you know, sort of like Inception-y, sort of, again, distortion of reality thing, which, again, fits Playboi Carti's persona. I mean, that's sort of what he's about. So I fucked with it.
my sock, hiding in my sock, selling every rock.
And,
In New York, I Millie rock, hiding in my sock, uses every rock, running from the cop, shooting at the ops.
damn, that was hard.
Shooting at the ops.
Right, like all these transitions are cool.
Give me top,
In my drop top.
I didn't hung on flop.
Let me talk about this actually. Okay, now this is the other thing that I thought was mad cool, was the reversal, right? Again, people have done this, you know, this sort of playing with time, going forward, backward. Again, like, it's been done, but it's fucking cool. And also, another thing I will say about this video that I actually quite like is, well, they have some girls in the damn video. They made a street record and they still had girls chilling with them. Like, again, I stress this because rap, to me, one of the things that made rap so appealing as a kid growing up in the 90s especially, or just I would say in general, when rappers started to show women, and again, this is a whole nother conversation because obviously I think rap has done some destructive shit with regards to that. But I do think that showing the opposite sex, hanging out with them, showing them as beautiful as objects of desire, I think is fly. And I think that this is one of, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. This is one of the things that made hip hop just take over. Now, we're not the first to do this shit. Okay, rock and rollers been doing this shit. Okay, but we had our own spin on it. And this is why to this day everybody now wants the fat ass and the whole shit. Like, we invented that shit. Okay, and I say we as in the overall hip hop community. Okay, not necessarily me as a, you know, African Canadian. But what I'm saying is that it's a hip hop thing, right? To put that out there like that. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. These girls are cute too. And it's funny, like, oh, I love that Doctor Strange shit with the him and Rocky hanging out. Doctor Strange, sort of like, where are they right now type of thing, right? Like, this is dope. This is fucking ill. I love that actually. So where they have the air, yeah, the air, and the girls like that, the titties bounce. I think that's just fire. Again, it's like simple things like that, like that they sexualize her for sure, but it's done in a way that's a little unique to me, you know. Because again, most videos it's pretty basic, it's very standard, very generic, and it's done. She's partying, looks like she's having a good time, and I just like that effect. I just think that they did it well, and she's cute. And honestly, it's funny to me because these are the girls I remember, like in terms of like in the music video. It's the countless girls that are in bikinis and shit and fat ass. I don't even remember them, right? Them ladies, right? I don't remember them, right? But these are the ones I remember because they're doing something, I guess. They're not 100% half naked or whatever, but they're just kind of hanging out, like, you know? So, anyway.
All these niggas sound like cats, I'm the soldier. Damn, I thought I told you.
Shooting like a soldier, dude. Like I'm from Magnolia, dude.
All these niggas,
This is all good. Club been having a good time. Again, that transition. All these bitches want young Carti, young Carti. That's my favorite part of this whole video. Probably. Like the way that they played with time, starting off with when Rocky's, you know, it fits in choreography when you with the, you know, blowing the smoke or whatever. And then they speed up and like stop right before I guess he's gonna the barber clip's gonna go into his head or some shit. But I love the way that they did that. This part, yeah, God, this shit's fire. And again, it's some DJ shit. To me, I just look at, that's how I think about this kind of shit. I'm like, that's rap. Young Carti. Yeah, Pierre, what up? Cash Carti, bitch. Yeah, this is all cool. This is all good. Sucking on the dick. Get out of a tip. Took some boxing kicks.
Then I run my tip. Hop up in the road.
This is cool. This is okay. This part of the video, honestly, I gotta say, not my favorite part. And in fact, partly because this is just me as a human being and also as an older person, an OG, an old, washed up, whatever, gap-toothed bastard, right? But I don't like to see brothers getting killed on camera. That's just not something I want to see in a video. You know what I mean? So to me, it's just like that sort of celebration and making that slick of like, oh, I just killed, you know, like a young brother or whatever. Like that, I don't want to see that shit. And I think honestly, that's like that's a low point in the video, like for real. Now the way that it's done, this push off, that's fly. That's some samurai shit. Okay, that literally, like, if you ever see a movie called Twilight Samurai, like just that, I've done not kendo, Aijitsu, right? Like, you know, the art of drawing, the katana and stuff like that. Like that's again, that's some Wild West gunslinger samurai type shit, and that's cool. But again, I don't necessarily want to see death on camera. You know what I'm saying? Especially, you know, because we all know like how gun violence plagues our communities. I don't see that shit. So I didn't quite like that. This boy shows up out of nowhere and shoots him, whatever. And they grab the bag. This ain't my mind. Dope. Well, no, I'm fucking watch me. That's filthy. I love the South. I think I Southside with the watch, and now they had the watch, like that little effect. Again, there's little things in here that I'm just like, oh, that's fucking cool. Yeah, right there, right? These guys are dancing somewhere in some Doctor Strange type world. This shit's ill. I know how to fucking watch me, that's filthy. That's cool, I love that. And again, police shooting, I don't know about that. That's good. And I'm on the block. Even the way, you know, the zoom in to zoom out, it's like, I see that shit all the time now. In New York, I'm in the rock.
Running from the car, shooting at the ops.
Whoa. The Lexington Deli. I love that part actually. Yeah, that's ill. Again, rewinding time, right? You're playing with time, right? And I think that's fucking ill. Like, again, this is real street. Lexington Deli. Man, if I had to guess, I'd say this was in Harlem somewhere. But I could be wrong.
Running from the car,
I feel like I even walked on that street. Whoa. Pierre comes out. Yeah, this shit's ill, man. Like, again, trippy as fuck. funny, man. And it's wild because this video is literally 7 years old at this point. And I'm still seeing this sort of aesthetic in new videos. And I'm like, damn, like, can you imagine, like, if you think about the difference in way videos were shot, hip-hop videos, from 1992 to 1999. Okay, that's 7 years. And that's a freaking world apart, right? And this is my problem. Again, like, things move slower in hip-hop now. Way slower. In rap, like before, things were moving like that. This is how we got so excited. By the time you got into hip hop, once you were in, like I was like 97 was my year. I was in, and then it was just like every year there was something really fucking new, and that was part of what we expected as an audience. We just expected you to do some new shit, right? You know, and it's not necessarily we expect you to be the deepest person or we expect you to be positive or none of that shit. We just expect you to be dope and do new shit. Right? And it's just wild to me that I feel like hip-hop is just, again, I've said this many times about how stagnant it is, but it's stagnant at all levels. The beats are stagnant, the freaking music is stagnant, the visuals are stagnant, right? And again, it shows you that, unfortunately, the culture is just at a super standstill. And I don't blame them, because what's the incentive, right? The incentive is to do what's familiar, because that's what social media, that's what the algorithms reward. Right? We live in a world that's, again, dominated, especially the social media world, that's dominated by algorithms. And algorithms reward people who do the same shit over and over again. That's the truth of the matter. But anyway, this video, that kaleidoscope trippy cloud rap shit, and it was a very brilliant showcase to me of who Carti was at that point. Anyways, I say was, and I really quite liked it. And it's funny because the same editor that I was talking about, I remember a year later we were chatting and he was like, yeah, I was hating, that shit was ill. Yeah, video was ill, I fuck with Carti. Yeah, man, that's the thing, when you do some new shit, like, people will be mad. Like, it is what it is. Like, you can't expect, sometimes you come out with new stuff and you think, oh man, people are going to love me because I've spent all this time and I really wanted to innovate and do something new. But people, like, some people will be mad at you. They either don't get it or they do get it to a certain degree and they're mad that you've dared to do something different because now it's like, oh fuck, look at this person. They just rewrote the rules. Now I got to change my whole shit up. Right? So expect that. If you're out here, you're trying to do something innovative and new, don't expect people to like that shit right away. Most of the time they don't. Sometimes they do right away, but it's kind of rare. A lot of times people are just going to like hate on it initially, especially in this climate where it's the culture of mediocrity, right? Because it's all about like, you don't want to rock the boat. If you rock the boat, then somehow it's your problem, right? It's not the fact that everyone else is mediocre and trying to play into the same mediocre, styles and tastes and stuff. It's like, why are you doing something different? How dare you, right? Anyway, to that point, I do think it's interesting, again, speaking of the old heads, but the one old head who was like, oh, this sounds like it was lazy at the time, right? He was like, it's so lazy, and they just like threw all these effects together and blah, blah. And it's, it's not hip-hop. But again, I always find it interesting when old heads make some of these statements, because to me, I'm like, yes, you might have been listening to rap since 86 or whatever, right? But the truth of the matter is that sometimes, like a fair amount of these old heads, they only knew or they only listened to the stuff that everybody was listening to, right? It's not like they were like really digging. And if they did dig, they only dug for like a couple years, and then they went on to do other things that were more important. And so they started to listen more casually. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that you got to devote your life to this rap shit and you got to be digging all the time and being on point. Most people, music is just enjoyment. It's not something to think deep about. I totally get it. But what I am trying to say is that, like, again, if you're really somebody who knows their shit and is really open, and if you are really into some hip-hop shit, you would notice that, yeah, this shit that Carti and them were doing is not really anything necessarily new, right? Again, I've talked about this on my channel in the community section with Wio-K, and this is a Toronto nigga with barely any money, right? But if you look at this video, again, street shit, like, the streets of Scarborough. I know, notice the same type of shit, right? Speed up, right? Random, using the clouds. The fuck's going on, right? He's here, he's there, right? Type of thing. Like, it's the same type of idea. because ultimately the behavior, how people behave is not going to change. Like, this is why it's important to study old shit and old dope shit, because it gives you ideas to bring back certain things that people might not have been paying attention to. Like I said, when Carti came out with that video, Magnolia, it didn't remind me of anything, but it's like looking back, I'm like, yeah, like there were rap videos like this that were dope, and I love them. Like, this is one of my favorite rap videos in Canada ever. You know what I'm saying? What I hate from the shit that I like. Right? Gonna bring out the sunlight. Down, everything's alright. Separate what I hate from the shit that I like. Right? Speed up, slow down. Even there's a part in here. Niggas is flying across the stream. Just, you know, like.
Slapping the mic stands to the left. It's a desire for some roles like these to load the mind and fire rhymes like whack employees.
Anyway, so you get the idea. The point is that this is not new, right? Like, nothing, no one does anything like completely new you've never seen before. Usually what they're doing is that they're bringing back something that you may have forgotten, or they're doing something in terms of using new tools, right? And so they're maybe reinforcing older ideas, but perfecting them, making them better, sharper, that kind of thing, right? And that's why, again, I stress, you gotta study shit because people been doing shit, right? That's how you know. For example, I always say this, but again, this is why to me, Rocky and, you know, ASAP, Playboi, Carti, obviously all Rocky, but this is why to me they run circles around you niggas. And, you know, people think it's arbitrary for why I always praise Rocky and Playboi, Carti and shit like that. It's not arbitrary. I just noticed that they seem, and their people seem to do their homework more than just about everyone else in this rap shit. And they are genuinely charismatic guys, and they have ideas, and they make them their own. They're not just dick riding old shit, right? They're doing, and that's why whenever, you know, Carti is about to come out or Rocky comes out, everyone's like, oh, what are they going to come with? Even when they're clowning them. You know, like, you know, or Rocky, I don't like that fit. I used to see it all the time. The anticipation that Rocky and Playboi or Carti will always generate is because of the fact that they have, at some point, like, rewritten the rules of this rap shit. They've come out with something that you're like, oh, that's some ill shit. I haven't thought about that in that way before. That's what you got to do. Make it you. You know, lastly, I kind of will bring this up. I don't know if I should do a whole video on my my favorite rapper in the world, Kendrick Lamar, as you guys know. But this is a perfect example of what not to do, okay? But, I mean, look, all right, it's got 175 million views. You guys are going to be like, oh, so many views. You know, let's remove the bots for a second, right? Maybe half are bots, okay? But outside of that, yes, Kendrick Lamar is a popular artist. He makes pop casual rap. It's totally fine. It's good for whatever it's got to do. But what I am trying to say is that, you know, the difference between sort of taking old stuff and making it new is, I see that in Carti and I see that in Rocky. But when Kendrick does it, to me, it's like, look, I listen to old stuff. Right? Like, it's. Let me give you a perfect example. Remember when I was talking about black men being killed on camera and shit like that? And that sort of trauma porn, and you know, but Kendrick's version is trauma porn. Again, this is why when y'all give him this, like, conscious label and he's doing something incredible stuff, I'm like, Kendrick is no different from any of these dudes. They all showcase Black Death on camera. They all make it fly in the grand scheme of things in their own way, and that's why rap hasn't evolved since Kendrick has been in the scene. Like, Kendrick isn't teaching these new niggas anything. He's just reinforcing the same old shit. You know, police brutality, death, you know, violence. It's the same old shit. It's just repackaged in a, you know, shoo-shoo-frific, latte kind of way. Like, you know, just be honest about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we need the bullet time? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the bullet time for? Now, this is what I was talking about.
I'm gonna be the greatest to ever do this shit.
Okay,
on
sure.
my mama don't like. On the dead homies.
So now, first time I saw this, right? Go ahead.
Tell me who the bitch nigga hating on me.
Right, that'd be me. Not really. See, this is my problem with this. Again, the moment I saw this, I knew Everything remains raw, very specific. It's not obscure, okay? Again, hip-hop, any hip-hop head worth their salt knows Busta Rhymes, knows Everything Remains Raw. The casuals might not know. And I know that that's who Kendrick makes his music for. It's virtual signaling to them. I'm the representation of hip-hop. I will take you and I will show you, you know, Busta Rhymes, woo-ha. Like, and you're going to go, oh my God, you are so hip-hop, right? But again, it's too on the nose. I don't know why this was included necessarily. It doesn't tell anything about the narrative. The only thing is, at the end of the day, the police prop up the car, but it's random. Like, what the fuck has this got to do with we're gonna be all right or any of this stuff? It's random, and this is again another problem with Kendrick. But Kendrick's whole thing is random, right? It's artsy and random, right? And again, that's fine if you like that shit. I'm not gonna say that you can't like that stuff. Everyone has a certain taste, but you're not gonna tell me that it's deep. Fuck out of here, okay? That's what you're not gonna do. So anyways, long story short, study your shit. The old stuff, there's a lot of great, this is why I post new and old. I'm not just stuck in 1986 or 1990 or 97. I mean, I love those eras, but I also try to pay attention to what people are doing now, and I do want to see cool new shit, you know. And usually, honestly, I'm kind of the first person, one of the first people that you know, that if something new is really dope, I'll tell you about it. You know what I mean? By the way, I'm going to end it on this note. Drake, or Drake's people, you know, because I know a lot of people watch my channel on the low, but if you want to get at Kendrick, like, I have some ideas. If I were in Drake's position, there's a way I would, like, there's a certain type of beat, and there's really a way I'd get at Kendrick and I'd finish him, frankly, because there's just so much ammo out there, right? And again, analyzing Kendrick's music and why this nigga is not, you know, he's not gonna be around. Like, you know, he's a bot, you know, Interscope machine baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can defeat that shit. You know what I mean? Like, Drake to me is just way more innovative. I've talked about this in a previous video when I did the starter from the bottom analysis. But all Drake's got to do is remind niggas, like, yo, like, this is what I brought to the game. Okay, I brought this. I showed you niggas. I literally brought these niggas out. Okay, I put ASAP Rocky on the map. I put Kendrick on the map. Right? And if he does it with the right beat, again, holla at me, okay? tochiRTA@gmail.com. Send me an email. All right? Holla at me. Because I know, like, to me, there's like a way where you could just murder this clown. You know what I mean? And shout out to everybody in the comments, the bots in particular, those who are angry at me in the comments always. Look, I say the real shit. You know I say the real shit. And most of the time, I got it right. I'm actually most of the time flat on it. Like 1,000% right. That's the thing. You guys know this, which is why you subscribe to my shit. So, anyways, I love y'all. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Peace and love.